Week 1 of the NFL is a thing of the past. We lived, we learned, and now we're on to week 2. So here are my predictions and bets for week 2 of the NFL. What's crack-a-lacking? Is your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. You can see over here how I did in week 1, and as always, this isn't betting advice, and if you do bet responsibly and bet within your means. Let's go ahead and talk about each matchup, as we're going to start with tonight's game, as hey, we're doing a watch along for it, so come be there for that. It's the Vikings versus the Eagles. The Eagles do have some significant starters out, as James Bradbury will be out. I think that's with the concussion. Reed Blankenship will be out with the rib injury, and Kenneth Gainwell will be out. So heads up, fantasy owners. I know he got a bulk of the workload last week, but now you might want to be pivoting to like your DeAndre Swifts or even Rashad Penny in some cases. But I still think all in all, Eagles win this. That 6.5 seems a little too big for me, though. I mean, I could see the Eagles clearing that pretty easily, but still, it's too big for me if I'm going to put money on it. I'd rather just take the Eagles on the money line, and then the 49 is an interesting number, and I like to think with some of the injuries that they will eclipse that. I'm sure that the Eagles want to come out and maybe have a bigger, more explosive performance. My question is, can Kirk Cousins get it done? Can the Vikings get it done on their end? And I think they could, so I'm kind of leaning the over in this case. Going to the Sunday slate of games, as it's an even toss-up between the Packers and the Falcons. A very interesting matchup, as we're gonna get to see, can this run game of the Falcons, can they produce against this Packers D-line that mollywopped the Chicago Bears? Are the Bears that bad, or are the Packers that good? And I feel like the answer is somewhere in between. I do think the better quarterback is with the Packers, Jordan Love. I know Jordan Love wasn't perfect, but he sure as hell looked much better than Desmond Ridder, who was basically just playing within his means and playing within the scheme. I know 15 for 18, very nice looking number, but let's not act like it was an impressive performance by Desmond Ridder. I do like the Falcons' new look defense, but I do tend to still lean with the Packers. This number was initially, I think, 1.5 for the Packers, so -1.5 for the Packers. Now it's a toss-up. I'm just going to go with the Packers. I want to say that they're going to get over that 40.5. I really, really do. And I know a lot of the unders hit last week, and that's actually how I did so well. I went with a lot of the unders, but for this one, I do kind of lean the over. I mean, 40.5 is such a small number. And then we got the Raiders going against the Buffalo, the Bills. This was initially 9.5, and I had the Raiders plus 9.5. Now it's been bet down to 8.5, which, okay, I'm a little more queasy on that. I do think the Raiders can come out and cover that. But man, I felt much better with that 9.5 number. Now that it's been bet down to 8.5. Ooh, I'm still a little queasy with taking the Raiders. I think I'm gonna switch this to Bills money line. It's just a safer bet, in my opinion. And I ain't betting to lose money. I'm betting to win money. The 47, that over under just scares the bejesus out of me. It surely does, because the Raiders, let's not act like they put up a lot of offense last week. Yeah, the offense looked much better. They looked mistake free, but that's still a big number, 47 over under. Like, if anything, I'm probably taking the under there, but I think I'm just going to stay away from it in general. Next might be one of the matchups of the week. We actually got quite a few here that are going to be, that at least on paper look like good matchups. The Cincinnati Bengals, they will take on the Baltimore Ravens. Bengals are 3.5 point favorites. Ooh, that is a toss-up for me, and I like that number. I like Baltimore plus 3.5, but I don't think I'm gonna take a winner here. because the Bengals, remember last year, they started out the gates real slow. They had back-to-back overtime losses. First to the Steelers, then to the Cowboys. So I'm a little hesitant to take the Bengals here, but I'm not confident enough to take the Ravens. The Ravens dealt with some big injuries last week. Marcus Williams, he's going to be gone for a significant amount of time with the torn pectoral. So I don't see him doing a Cody Rhodes and showing up here on Sunday. I think he already went to IR. Not positive about that. Don't quote me. J.K. Dobbins went down. We know Linderbaum's beat up. We know Ronnie Stanley is beat up. So like they're dealing with injuries. I'm not touching this game, but that over under at 46.5, I kind of like that. I like it to be a lower scoring game. I'm going to go with the under in this case. The Seattle Seahawks, after laying an egg, not a goose egg, but an egg against the Rams, they take on the red hot Detroit Lions. It's a Lions are 4.5 point favorites. Not comfortable enough to take that number. Just give me Detroit on the money line. But I feel like a lot of points can be scored. I'm a little hesitant because with the Seahawks, both their starting tackles might be out. Like we don't know about Charles Cross just yet, but Abraham Lucas, he just headed to IR. I'm trying to think, was it a groin? Was it a hand? I can't remember the specific. Maybe it was a kneecap. I can't remember specifically what the injury was, but they might be down both their starting tackles, which makes me queasy that they can hit that number, but I'm confident Detroit can they can take a lot of the weight here. So and I just said, man, I'd rather take the unders in a lot of these games, but I'm staring this down in the face and I'm like, I think I might take the over in this. I mean, Seattle needs to come out and show offense. To be fair, Seattle wasn't good for like the first 2 weeks either. And week 2 last year was when they got mollywopped by the Niners. You know what? I think I'm going to switch this to the under. I'm going to go with the under here at 47. The Chargers take on the Titans. Chargers are a 3-point favorite. I'd rather just take Chargers money line. I'm not very confident in that defense to really do much of anything for the Chargers. So I think the Titans can make this a close game. As long as Tannehill is mistake-free, and it's not like that defense was creating a lot of mistakes, but I have confidence that Derrick Henry is going to be able to run the dang ball in this matchup. Just give me the Chargers on the money line, though. They have enough offense, I think, to win this game. And the 45 over under, I'm liking the 45 under. I'm liking the under. Now we're going to start rolling into some of these unders. Chicago Bears take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are 2.5 point favorites. Man, what a battle of juggernauts. Justin Fields takes on Baker Mayfield. Holy freaking moly. I feel more confident just taking Buccaneers on the money line. Over under at 41 was 41.5. Now they've lowered it a half. I don't know what the big gripe is there. And I have a feeling that this could hit the under. I can see a very similar to last week with the Vikings Bucks. It ended up being a 20-17 game. I know the Packers put up a lot of points on that Bears defense. I'm hoping the Bears don't nearly look as bad. I don't think the Bucks, outside of like your Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, have the I don't think they have like a explosive player at tight end. And you can make a case for Rachaad White being this explosive playmaker that can get loose, but he's no Aaron Jones. So I do like the under in this regard. Kansas City Chiefs take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Kansas City is a 3.5 point favorite, which I know a lot of people are going to like that number. They're going to take Jacksonville plus 3.5. A lot of people are just going to take Jacksonville on the money line. I don't like touching this game. I know people are like, oh, the Jacksonville almost beat Kansas City in the playoffs last year, and now they're coming back better than ever. Well, Chris Jones is back for this game. I have my doubts that Kelsey will be back for this game for the Chiefs, But remember in that playoff game, Mahomes was beat up. He was unable to really move. Like Chad Henne had a drive in that game that he went for 90 yards and led the team to the touchdown. So keep that in mind. I don't want to touch this game. I want no part of this game. But give me that over and under. I think there might be a lot of points in this game. So I know 51. It's a high bar to go over, but me likey a lot. Indianapolis Colts will take on the Houston Texans. Colts are a 1-point favorite, and I like that. Give me the Colts +1. The over-under is 39. Oh, man, I got to imagine that both teams I imagine the Colts are going to have a much better offensive showing. Not to say Anthony Richardson didn't look good. It's just you could tell he's got a long way to go as a starter. I do think Stroud will look better. This is, if you remember the Colts, they only blitzed once last week against the Jags, and with less pressure on Stroud, I think we're really going to get to see what Stroud may be capable of. I'm still taking the under in this regard, 39. I know it's a low number, but I think we could have a low scoring affair here. All right, San Francisco 49ers are going against the Rams. Niners, 8-point favorites. A lot of people are going to be taking those Rams +8 because of what they did to Seahawks last week. I would reel back on that and just take the Niners on the money line. It's tempting, but just give me that 45 or 44.5 over under. I don't want any part of that. That feels really right. And if I know anything about Vegas, I'm talking the MGM, I'm talking Sin City, baby. They're going to get a lot of these numbers right. So that 44.5, that looks just too good, like too on the nose. So I'm going to steer clear of that. The New York Giants are going to try to redeem themselves after getting goose-egged against the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're a better team than what we saw Monday or Sunday night. Do I think they're that much better of a team? I'm not exactly a vanilla Vic believer, but the Giants are a 5.5-point favorites. And I'm not going to lie. I look at that 39.5 and it tempts me to go with the under here, but I'm going to be honest with y'all. I want no part of this game. This garbage affair, leave me out of it. All right, Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. It's Jets, not MIF. Golly, dude. Dude, we're a clean channel. Stay away from those stupid jokes. They're taking on the Cowboys. Cowboys just annihilated the Giants last week, 40-0. Not surprising that they're a 9-point favorite here. Don't like that, but I do like Dallas just on the money line. Over under is 38. It feels low, but it also, that requires like the Jets to score points. So, you kind of think you want to go with the over there potentially, but honestly, I'm not touching the over and under in this game. The Washington Commanders take on the Denver Broncos and Mr. Unlimited. Oh man, Washington is a 3.5-point underdog, and I like that a lot. I think, Washington, it wasn't the cleanest affair against the Cardinals, and a lot of Sam Howell's mistakes really were cataclysmic and led to scores. If he could reel in those mistakes, then okay, we got an offense here. I kind of like Washington +3.5. I kind of do. So I'm going to take Washington +3.5. And I'm actually going to go with the under in this game. It was initially 38. It has got bet up to 39, which means I like it all that much more. And then Sunday night, we got the Miami Dolphins, baby. Fins up, going against the New England Patriots. Dolphins are a 3-point favorite. I just want to take the Dolphins on the money line because I feel like this could be a very tight game. I was pretty impressed with Mac Jones last week. Can he do enough, especially with Vic Fangio's defense not looking entirely impressive. I think the run game is going to be a lot more involved this week for the Patriots against the Dolphins run game that kind of just allowed everything. I think they were like the worst run defense in football last week. So just give me the Dolphins on the money line. Dolphins fan, got to root for them. And I'm not going to touch the over and under in this game at 46.5. Okay, we got a Sunday night doubleheader. 2 games going on at the same time, and I kind of hate that. We will be streaming the Browns Steelers, but we'll talk about them in a second. Saints take on the Panthers. Saints 3-point favorites. Over unders 39.5. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I want no part of this game. I think the Saints defense is gonna do pretty darn well, but like honestly, Bryce Young played a good game outside of those 2 mistakes that ended up being Jesse Bates turnovers. I do think that this is a Panthers team very much in a rebuild. They're not maybe as far along as people thought they were. They kind of lack playmakers on the outside right now. Their leading receiver last week was Hayden Hurst. Chandler Savala and Bray Christensen, who's actually now on IR. They kind of were really bad, but I want no part of this game. Just leave me out of it. And then we got the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Remember, after this, we're going to do GoJo's picks of the week. So if you like player prop bets, then you're going to love that. But we got the Browns as a 2.5-point favorite, and I kind of like that. I think the Steelers will bounce back. But man, that they go from one monstrous defense to the next. Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith looked like a freaking unstoppable freight train at both edge spots. Even Oba got involved in the action. I kind of like the Browns plus or minus 2.5. I think I'm gonna take the Browns to cover that. The over under was 39.5. It has been bet down to 38.5. I'm smashing the over, baby. I think they can get over that. I think we're gonna see like a 24-20, 27-20, 27-24 type ball game. So I'm feeling good about the over in this case. So let's go ahead and get to GoJo's picks of the week. Welcome to GoJo's Picks of the Week, presented by Underdog Fantasy. When you use promo code Broshmo, when you sign up at Underdog Fantasy, they will match your first deposit up to $100 dues, which means if you deposit 40 on your first deposit, they're going to give you an extra 40 to play with. Now you're playing with 80. It is a great deal, and there's not a better place to play weekly fantasy football or even player prop bets that are higher or lower, which we're going to go over some of GoJo's best bets of the week. But first, we're going to go over how he did last week, starting with this one was a stinker, GoJo. You nailed the Desmond Ridder under 200 passing yards, or under, what is it, a 197? He got 116. And fun fact, when we go over this week's bets, Desmond Ridder might be involved again. But you missed on Brandon Ayuk went off, buddy. He went off. Dude was nuts. Derrick Henry didn't score. Kenneth Walker didn't score. So a couple of these offenses kind of dudded out the get-go. And we were there for the Monday or the Thursday night game where Mahomes fell a touchdown short. But outside of that, his other bets did well. And these were insured, which you can insure them at Underdog Fantasy, where even if you only hit 4 or 5, you get a nice chunk of change. So he hit the Desmond Ridder one. He hit Pat Freiermuth. Again, that Niners defense, GoJo was very confident that at least the tight end would be very uninvolved in that, as he only had 3 receiving yards. He nailed Khalil Herbert, who ended up having 19 yards. So he more than doubled what he was expected. GoJo did miss on the Gibbs. Gibbs literally had 18 receiving yards in the first half and then didn't see another target outside that. Kind of wild. And I did mention GoJo loved Calvin Ridley last week, and he ended up beating his projection by 30 yards. You love to see it. GoJo's other one here was, again, Pat Freiermuth. He had Khalil Herbert. He had the free Patrick Mahomes higher than 0.5 yards, but again, missed on Gibbs. But let's go to what he's got cooking this week. What does he got brewing? He's got 3 different bets he wants to show you. So they currently got a special with Tua Tagovailoa. My boy fins up. Sorry, I know you're a Chiefs fan, GoJo, but I like taking Tua lower than 277. I really do. I know that high-powered offense of the Dolphins. I really believe in the Patriots defense there. And then he kind of has the same game here with tonight's matchup. He has just Justin Jefferson higher than 7 receptions. He has Dallas Goedert lower than 4 receptions. That's going to be an interesting one. Dallas Goedert did kind of dud last week. I don't think he had a reception at all. TJ Hawkinson lower than 5 receptions. And then he has AJ Brown higher than 72.5 receiving yards, which, I mean, if you look at the secondary for the Vikings, you can kind of believe it. But what else? What do you got going for the week, GoJo? Show us here. Oh, you got Brandon Ayuk again, buddy? But he says he's not making the same mistake twice. He doesn't believe in the Rams corners. He's taking Ayuk higher than 57.5. Ayuk is becoming a star before our very eyes. He was already exceptionally very good, but now he's just blossoming. He's taking Josh Jacobs higher than 68.5 rushing yards. If you remember the Monday night game, basically Breece Hall just ate. He had like 10 carries for like 133 or 127 yards. He's going with Calvin Ridley higher again. He loves that Calvin Ridley matchup. He's going to go with him higher than 69.5. Kyler Granson, low-key one here. He's taking Kyler Granson lower than 25.5 receiving yards. I know the Colts are a little beat up at tight end, but he doesn't really believe that they're going to get much done there in Houston, especially if Jimmy Ward might return. I don't know if they slapped him on IR, if he was just inactive for the Baltimore game. And then he's taking Amon-Ra St. Brown higher than 79.5 receiving yards. He loves that matchup if it's going to be Kobe Bryant, not the Black Mamba, but the former Bearcat in the slot again, who just got annihilated by Puka Nacua. So he really likes that matchup there. Then GoJo's final one here this week. This looks like the same one. Here it is. Got a few defensive players here, so, well, got one. He likes Ramondre Stevenson getting higher than 53.5 rushing yards. Remember, the Dolphins defense, it didn't matter if it was Austin Eckler or Joshua Kelly, who I still don't think is very good, but I'm scared the Dolphins' run defense might be very bad. Remember, Vic Fangio, bend don't break. So he likes Ramondre in that matchup. Desmond Ridder, he's now bet down to 190.5. We're taking the lower again, man. We don't believe in Desmond Ridder. TJ Edwards, he had, I believe, 13.5 tackles last week for the Bears. We're going to go ahead and snag him at 7.5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. GoJo believes that Nick Chubb is going to get a tutty. He believes it. But doesn't believe it so much to where, hey, let's include a receiving touchdown just in case. So he's going to take the higher on Nick Chubb at only 0.5. So he just has to get a rushing or receiving touchdown. And then finally, he's taking T. Higgins higher than 60.5 rushing plus receiving yards. I don't know why they include rushing, but we'll take it. Listen, T. Higgins was targeted 8 times last week and didn't get a single reception. Might be a revenge game here. They're going to need him to show up if they're going to beat Baltimore. So T. Higgins higher than 60.5. But let's go ahead and get to Broshmo's cowardice picks of the week. I know y'all love college football on the channel, so here are some of my college football bets this week. This is via FanDuel, and here's my 12-leg parlay. I have broken it down into other 4-leg parlays just so I can hit, but I'm very confident with a lot of this week's matchups as they got Memphis currently Only minus 14.5 against Navy. That's a Memphis offense that's been putting up a lot of points the last couple of weeks. So give me that. I think they're one of the better teams in the American Conference as well. Florida State, minus 26.5. And this is a Boston College team that sucks. Flat out, almost lost to Holy Cross last week, right? So I kind of like Florida State just coming out here and just padding stats. Penn State is a 14.5 point favorites against Illinois. And to be fair, this isn't an Illinois team that's exactly looked great. They had a lot of points in garbage time last week against Kansas, but this is a much better Penn State team, and they probably want to get Drew Ayler. They want to pad the stats for him. I did take Wisconsin money line against Georgia Southern, just kind of a gimme bet. And then I'm going with the under in Georgia versus South Carolina. Listen, this is a really bad South Carolina offensive line. And we saw what happened in that North Carolina game where just Spencer Rattler was unable to do anything because he just wasn't afforded time to throw. This is a much better defense than that North Carolina defense. In Georgia, I feel like they can get it out to a lead and take their foot off the gas. So I can see maybe at the most, maybe this being a 45 to 10 point game. So, because I really don't think South Carolina is going to score a lot. And Georgia, they're a team that also, they don't mind taking the pedal off the metal. So I kind of like that 54.5 point number. Duke is an 18.5 point favorite over Northwestern. Northwestern, another team that they've gone through a lot this off season, and I just think Duke's just going to be out there padding stats. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they were up 21 points at half. I'm going to take Washington 16.5 against Michigan State, obviously, with the whole Mel Tucker thing going on. I just don't. I think maybe Michigan State's mind might be elsewhere, and I think a lot of those players, their minds might be already looking at the transfer portal. Washington, they're going to come out here and be like, hey, let's lay a beat down. And they actually did this last year, too. I think Tennessee's only a 6.5 point favorite. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. Part of me wanted to take that. Part of me wanted to take Florida plus 6.5. But I'm just going to go Tennessee money line. This is, I think, I love this bet of the week. I love taking Bowling Green plus 40.5 against Michigan. Listen, good teams win, great teams cover, and Michigan has not been a great team. They have not covered in any of their cupcake matchups this year. Bowling Green's head coach, this is a team, Bowling Green, that's playing very hard for Scott. What is it? It's like Loeffler. I don't know. He's a former QB coach from Michigan. That was back in 2002 to 2007. So maybe we've seen Michigan. Once they've gotten out to these big leads, 28, 35 point leads, they've taken the pedal off the metal. They've brought in the second string, the third stringers. I think Bowling Green can cover that, especially considering Michigan hasn't covered against, I would consider, worse teams already. I got Arkansas. I'm a little nervous, but I really believe in Arkansas being a really good squad. I have them on the money line against BYU. I have Mississippi or Ole Miss on the money line against Georgia Tech. And then I like me this one. Yeah. Y'all can see how much I put on it and how much I can win from that. This is why I made a few 4-leggers, just so I will, if I hit this, I win a lot. But I got a couple of 4-leggers that'll get me like $50 to $100 with my more confident bets. So I'll take it. That's why you bet smart, bet within your means, and bet responsibly. Please, I can't say that more than enough. If you ain't got money to bet, or you think you got a problem, get help, and just don't do it. Just don't do it, guys, please. But I really do like Colorado. I think they're gonna Colorado's safe for one, not that good of a team. Colorado, I think they could be padding some of their stats, because remember, they have Oregon next week, which we're going to do a watch along for that game. Where I think we're actually going to do a double header too, because Notre Dame, I think, has USC or something, or maybe it's Ohio State. I can't remember. I don't know. We're going to be doing a double header with the Notre Dame game though. I think Colorado's going to pad stats. I was shocked to see it was this low at only 22.5. To be fair, I would have taken this at like 27.5. So I'm taking Colorado minus 22.5. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. And as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.